All right. See if all this comes up correctly. Start that. Check. That looks right. That looks right. Okay, as far as I can tell, everything is set up. And we should be live. So, hey, what's up? Sunday night. Let's put off the start of the work week for just a couple more hours and talk some toys. Let's go ahead and do that. That sounds like something. So, in terms of a channel update, while we're waiting for people to get in here and whatnot, I don't think I have anything serious. I need to check through those. I actually think that's posted. Let me check. The last thing that went up was the it was the talk about the Tila. So if I'm not mistaken, then all my edit clips should be done. I don't need any of that. I can delete all that. Everything is posted, and we are up to, looks like, roughly 50 projects left. It's crazy how this just keeps growing. But you figure every single one of these lives that we do that I break into chapters, that's 3, 4, 5 extra videos, if you think about it. Like, because if we review 4 figures, or usually we get about 3 or 4, roughly, that's 3 or 4 edits that I have to make. And then aside from that, you also got to figure that every time that we do something like this, we also talk about topics and whatnot. And that also bleeds into a bunch of other stuff that we need to do. Excuse me, dang. I'm hoping I'm not about to do hiccups here. But yeah. So I don't see anything. I don't see anything in terms of that. I don't think we have any issues there in terms of a channel update or anything like that. And we have added a couple of different items to the show. And we have stuff coming. For whatever reason, a lot of the stuff that I had pre-ordered got pushed into March. So I guess this is still kind of in the channel update. And so March is going to have a lot of drops. Let me change that real quick there. Yeah, so like my very first Mythic Legions ever is coming, and I think she shipped. And there's a couple of other figures here and there. There's like some DC figures and stuff like that. But like a lot of stuff got pushed into March. A couple of the items that were pushed into March are now pushed off into like June, I think. So I'm going to have to go look at that. But hey, if nothing else, that's kind of a benefit because like I don't need everything dropping in March. But a lot of it did hit in March, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that affects like updates and whatnot. Hey, what's going on? I will say though, I've kind of moved to opening a couple of things off the live to kind of move parts of the show. But I don't think that's going to be any kind of an issue. We have more than enough and stuff coming in, and like some of the stuff that has to be opened is like Marvel Legends is out of control. I don't know what happened that all of a sudden there were so many Marvel Legends coming into the collection. I really don't. But like a lot of Marvel collections just came into the collection all at once. Like to the point that it actually became a bit of a problem. And there's this and a complete other stack of Marvel Legends that came in. I think what happened is I ended up going to a couple conventions. And as I went to the conventions, I kept finding Marvel Legends that I had never bought. Ever. Like stuff that I'd left behind and never really considered. And if I'm going to get serious about taking a lot more pictures and whatnot, I need certain things, like I need bad guys. For the longest time, I bought a lot of good guy stuff. That's kind of in my personality. I know that it's like, okay, I'm the kind of person that when I play KOTOR, I play the good guy. When I play Mass Effect, I play the good guy. I don't like to play the bad guy. I know that there's like a, oh, well, it's fun to be the bad guy. I've never actually felt that way. And say what you will about that. That's kind of the reason why I lean the way I do in my views with like superheroes and liking the Superman actors that I do and things like that, is because there's certain lines that I feel, I don't know, it's very hard to explain. Like, I often pick the good guys. It's not very often. Like, you'll notice, like, in a lot of the stuff like that, like, I collect all the turtles, but I don't collect any of the bad guys, really. I don't have, like, Bebop and Rocksteady and a lot of things like that. I have, like, the Shredder, some foot soldiers. Like, that's it. Because I've always kind of been that way. So a lot of the Marvel Legends, I think what's been going on is for the longest time, I have collected minor villains and most all heroes. Well, now I'm wanting to do some more photography stuff, and I'm starting to figure out, like, I have all these Spider-Man, because I'm a Spider-Putz. But, like, the only collection that I have that is kept up in terms of good guys and bad guys is Motu. Motu's a weird thing with me, because I like both sides and buy all kinds of Motu. Where most everything else, I don't. Like, when it comes to comic books, I like Spider-Man. Yeah. And while I might like the villains, they never felt like I needed them. Now, all of a sudden, I'm going to these conventions and I'm finding all these things that I never bought. Like I'm finding things like him. And I bought Kazar, which is a problem. Because I bought Kazar at a time that I thought I was going to get that Savage 3-pack. I thought I was going to get the Savage Land 3-pack, and he was going to make a lot of sense. But that didn't happen. And then when it didn't happen, it became a whole issue of, what do I do with that now? Like, where do I go from here? Do I wait, and there's a chance that I'll pick it up later? And so far, that hasn't seemed to be the case. And they also don't seem to be breaking the Rogue and Shauna into their own things. So, like, yeah. And then, like, I bought Magic, but we never opened her and never talked about her. And then, now I have another Magic on the way. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Like, and then I ended up buying a bunch of Spider-Man villains and stuff like that. Back up, camera. It's not that serious. And yeah, so I think that's a big part of what happened. Like, at the conventions, it's very easy to find Marvel Legends. I think that's also something that's worth pointing out. You go to a convention, which I went to like 2 or 3 back to back, and the next thing I know, they're not overly priced. So like, while you're looking around and you might find one toy, and you'd be like, oh, I've always kind of wanted that. But I also don't want to pay like $160 for one figure or something like that. Or like, especially if you're the kind of person that's into Godzilla, good luck to you, because you're going to spend real money. You're going to spend real money. But like me, I could buy a $300, this is not an exaggeration, I actually posted this picture a long time ago on all my social stuff. I could buy a $300 Conan Leo. It's a turtle. He's $300 with none of his accessories, just in like a little plastic thing. I could buy that for $300. Or I could get a whole bunch, like an entire stack of Marvel Legends, and walk out with like 4 different characters from the Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery and only spend like $120. There's a huge difference there in terms of the buying power that you have moving through a Marvel Legends collection and moving through some of the other collections. And I think the reason that all of a sudden I have so many Marvel Legends stacking up is because I did start hitting conventions like back to back to back, and I think now I'm kind of paying for it. Dan and Dwight are rubbing their hands right now. I always default to playing the good guys too in RPGs. It's rare that I choose to do a bad guy playthrough. Yeah. They've got to know that people missed out. They've got to be thinking how to reissue the Savage Land 3-pack. Man, I certainly hope so. Like, I certainly hope so, because man, like, that feels so unbelievably mishandled. Like, just absolutely egregiously mishandled. And I cannot figure out for the life of me why they sold it that way, why it went to why it was a convention exclusive to begin with. That doesn't seem like the kind of thing that seems fair or correct for being a convention exclusive. And then on top of that, like, then when they did decide to sell it, they sold it in incredibly limited quantity. Even the people that had premium couldn't really get it. It sold out so fast it was unbelievable. Then it was available in certain areas, like I heard that like Europe or something like that was, because I had people that were on here being like, "Oh yeah, it's still available for me," and I'm like, "What the crap?" And like, they could get it, but none of that stock was being moved over for us. Like, hey, it's not selling over here. We still have like a ton of it. How come we don't? And then like, it didn't come back on set. Like, it just feels like it was a mess. And then I don't know. I feel like they do themselves a favor just doing single release of that Rogue, a single release of Sean. Like, just give it to us. Like, I don't understand. Like, why are we purposely making that difficult to get when we knew from the start people were going to want that in particular? I don't understand. I can't. So, today, I went to a shop and I found this. It still has the doors in terms of the front mansion doors. I'll point out the things that I know about it, okay? It does have the windows. This was $20, all right? So let's put that in mind real quick, that even if this turns out to be horrifically incomplete, $20. So I don't think I can go wrong here. I don't know if this is from Return. Like, if this is the Batman Forever? Here's what I know about this playset. This playset was released multiple times. Like, it might be like literally 9 different times. The exact same thing. They would just repaint it and put it out. They put it out for like a line that was just Batman. They put it out for Batman the Animated Series. They put it out for the Batman 90, like the 90 movie, like the Batman Returns stuff. They put it out for Batman Forever. They put it out for Batman and Robin. It was just over and over and over again. There was just like a Batman line that came out. And then there was like a special complete repaint where like they were doing like golden Batmobiles and golden and stuff like that. And they did it again and again and again. This thing just kept coming out. Well, I walked by it. They were asking $20 and I said, even if this is the only thing that it is, I might be able to get some pictures from it. And then if it does nothing for me, I can either turn this into some sort of custom project that I play around with for a minute, or I can give it to somebody that will appreciate it, and I've already got somebody, a family member, in mind. Now, I know in terms of the back here, there's supposed to be like a trapdoor thing here, which is interesting because when this thing was released, this is as far as I am understanding and I am remembering. This was released to be, this is supposed to be the Penguin's hideout. Now, I've heard that this was supposed to come out in like 1990, but something happened and it didn't come out. And so evidently it was in like toy magazines and everything else that it was designed for a certain line, and then it never happened. And then they basically just waited on it and basically it wasn't a re-release because it was not released when it was meant to be released, so they held on to it and released it later. That's what I seem to remember. Anyway, so this is supposed to actually, in the original design idea, this would have been the chemical plant, right? And this would have been the trapdoor, and the Joker would have fallen. And there's railings that are supposed to be here. I know that those railings are not there, so it's not complete, 100%. I know that. I also remember there's supposed to be like a ladder, I think, unless this is the ladder, or this is probably the ladder. So the ladders, it's nothing you can use, but yeah, I know there's supposed to be railings. I know there was supposed to be a trapdoor. That's not here, and I know that this was released and this was claimed to be the Penguin hideout or whatever, which we know that it wasn't. We know that, like, we're looking at it, that's basically Ace Chemicals, we know that. But then also, every time that this thing was released, it was also released claiming that this was other things, like the Riddler's hideout, which makes no sense at all and things like that. But hey, whatever. It's a clamshell, like so many other playsets of its time, that opens, and it folds out. And these are some of the things that I specifically remember about this. So, like, here we go right here as this part opens up. There's the house. There's the house. And this is not just me missing pieces. This was all it was. The only part of the house that we actually got was literally just like the inside of the house. It's missing the garage door. So I'm seeing that now. Because there's supposed to be a garage door right there. There's supposed to be a garage door right there. And that garage door would have also been the part with the house. It would have showed the grandfather clock and things like that. And it also looks like it's missing the door for the cave. So it's just, that part is just always open, but it does still have the stuff up top and whatnot. So it's still got the computers. It's got a lot of the stuff. So I don't think that that's necessarily a deal breaker, because I could get a couple shots. Does this come out a bit? Because this chair is like there. Maybe this needs to be pushed back or something like that. There we go. But that's it. Look, this was $20. That's all. It was $20. So even if this is not perfect, it's cool enough. This is supposed to turn. The idea used to be that there was I remember there used to be like a door for this part here. And then you would put a Batman, like a figure, you put a Bruce Wayne in there, and then the play feature was you close the door and you spin it around, and then you had a bat suit, like just a Batman figure that was already in there, and it would look like he went in there, shut the door, and came out as Batman or whatever. That's what I remember about this old playset. It's neat. It's, like I said, it did not cost me all that much to get my hands on. Move that there. And re-clip it all. But, like I said, even if I only ever got that, and that's all it ever did for me, I'll find something I can do with it. I'm either going to look through it and customize parts of it. Maybe I'll play around with some painting possibilities. I'm going to find something that I can do with it. I know that. And if I can't, I know somebody very specific that will appreciate it a lot. So that's, I couldn't pass it. At $20, I couldn't pass it up. Even if it's not complete, I bet you I could find the parts for it from like people that would 3D print the parts and whatnot and sell them on things like eBay and stuff like that. I'm positive I can put it together enough that it makes it worth it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to finally have something like that. And if nothing else, I can combine it with parts from the other Batcave stuff that I have, and maybe I can get something out of it regardless for like some pictures and whatnot. I have a couple of ideas. We'll see if anything actually pans out. And if it doesn't, it was $20. It was worth the try. It'll be kind of cool. So far, Marvel Legends has one, so we're going to mark down some Marvel Legends. So, let me do this. All right, let's check out. We could do that. We can do. And, oh, you know what? There. That'll get us started. Let me go up here and see what's going on. I think they did it based off how they previously did it before years ago with Khazar, Shauna, and Zabu. Right. Hey, what's going on? Okay. Just watched the short for the Joker and Bane. Can't wait for those. Well, we've got them. Let's see. Doing good, working like crazy. Been doing good. Glad to get the Stan Sakai turtles. That was cool. I saw some of those. Those are pretty cool, man. The Asagi. I was curious about him. I was curious about him. Like, if I'm not the only one interested in trying to get my hands on something like that, I'm wondering. I had this feeling. Like, the fact that I don't often see him in rotation as much as I do a lot of the other figures, I didn't know if it was just a production thing or if people are actively trying to get Usagi Yojimbos because they don't come out that often. I did wonder about that, and hearing that he sold out so quickly kind of makes me wonder on that. Let's see. Reminds me of the X-Men Toy Biz Danger Room playset. Oh, crap, man. You know, there was a... I didn't even know about this until, not recently. I didn't learn about it until, a couple months ago. There's, a Mega Man playset. I don't even know what it is necessarily, but, there's a Mega Man type of playset. Thoughts on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ultimates Raphael Road Gear 2003 animated series action figure. I'll tell you this about the Ultimate stuff. They're good for what they are. Like, they really are. They're good about what they are. But that doesn't make me run out to get them. Especially stuff like this, based on the 2003 animated series. It doesn't, I'm not about to rush out for that. But I gotta hand them credit for constantly putting out things that really seem to match the source material they're trying to pull from. The only problem that I'm seeing with them is that Ultimates are $60 figures minimum. So to put together a collection is hardcore. That's hardcore. And this is also coming from the guy that buys $100 Barbarians. So, I mean, take that for what you will. but I'm just saying, once diving into those lines, you're not going to get a lot of people. It's easy to get people interested in Marvel Legends. They're a budget line. You can come in and you can get hundreds of items. There's the DC multiverse. You can come in and get hundreds of items. They're available. You can get them. But Super 7 Ultimates, you have to go out of your way to buy them because you can't just you're not just going to walk into Walmart and get them. And then not only do you have to go out of your way to get them, you have to go to stores and you have to go online and whatnot to get them. If you do get them, you got to spend $60 a pop. So you're usually buying 1, 2 maybe, and not very often. So I'm actually surprised that the Super 7 Turtles have as much as they do. Because they do. They have a lot. You can get a lot Like they've done to the point where all the regular stuff is done and they have no choice but to deep dive into stuff like a 2003 animated series Raphael Road Gear figure. Is that not absolutely wild? I mean, think about that. You don't start diving into stuff like that unless you've already done so much that you're out of the regular. You can't just be like, oh, by the way, here's Bebop. Because, like, really? Like, we got him a while back. We're not worried about Bebop. Like, stuff like that. It blows my mind that at the price point that they sat at and sit at for as long as they have, that they have gone as far as they have, which means they are consistently selling. So you got to give them the thumbs up on that. It's impressive. But also, they are the Ninja Turtles that I picked for my shelf. So, I mean, when you're talking about that, in a way, I guess I do understand it, because I wanted a very specific thing. I wanted the exact toys that I grew up with modernized. The exact toys I grew up with. And I got them. They even came with the old crappy orange weapon racks. That is a level of, like, giving you what you want that is unheard of. And they did. They got my money. So I guess in a way it doesn't surprise me that they've gone as far as they have, where now they literally have to dive and find things that, like, maybe this will sell. Maybe this is a good item. But, like, when I think about it, if people are looking for what I was looking for, exactly what they grew up with, modernized, that's what they do. So the $60 at that point becomes very warranted. Like, it makes sense why people would pay for it, because you're getting exactly what you're asking for. When I break it down, that sounds good to me now that I'm saying it out loud. Oh yeah, I didn't get to ask this because I missed the live last week, but did you see the prototypes for Dark Stalkers, Victor, and Felicia from Storm? I did. I did see them. Right now they're just in the grayscale or whatever, or at least what I saw. If there's something else that I missed out on, they're in the grayscale, and I just put in my orders to start my my Storm Arena stuff. So it's basically I'm focusing on things that I'm not going to get from Jada that are from Alpha. I don't need a Ryu. Even if they put a Ryu and Ken back out, I don't need them. I just don't. I don't need young Ryu. I don't need young Ken. I've told you my history with Street Fighter. And if you don't know it, you can look up some of the Street Fighter reviews. There's a Street Fighter playlist. And I talk about my history with how good I was at that game, how often I played that game, the stuff I hated about that game, the stuff we have talked at tedium about Street Fighter. And specifically, I played Street Fighter 2. And that was like my era. Now, I did play a lot of Street Fighter Third Strike, and I did play a lot of Alpha. A lot. I used to go up to my buddy's house, walk up the hill. He had a Saturn, and I used to play Alpha with him, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. That was where, strangely enough, that was when I made the discovery that Guy and the Final Fight series were part of the Street Fighter universe. I didn't know. But then all of a sudden, one day I went up to his house and we're playing Street Fighter, and I'm like, Guy? Oh, hold on. Like the same guy? Like Guy? What? I was like, dude, he's from Final Fight. And like, I remember that blowing my mind when I was a kid, because like I didn't think that video games like did that. But with all that, that's where I've made my decision. Is if I'm going to jump into Storm Arena, I put Charlie up for pre-order. I put the Chun-Li up for pre-order. And I thought I put one more up for pre-order. I thought there were 3. because I'm specifically getting the guys that I don't get with the Street Fighter II Jada collection, like the guys that are going to stand out, that are going to be like a little, you know, they're going to be from Alpha, but they're going to be some of the guys that I simply can't get. And I'm very much looking forward to the expansion of that concept into things like SNK Final Fights, things of that nature, King of Fighters and stuff, because that has my attention. Fatal Fury, stuff like that. That has my attention quite substantially, because I'm definitely interested in expanding a fight game collection. Because, oh my God, I played fight games when I was growing up, man. I played so many fighting games when I was growing up. I'm overly thrilled with that idea. So I've got high hopes that when I get my first couple Storm Arenas, that it that it puts me on like, oh, this is it. Like this is absolutely going to fill the gaps, because when that happens, when it happens that I'm like, oh, I can fill all the gaps, I'm very excited to start just picking that stuff up and seeing that they're doing Victor, seeing that they're doing Felicia, seeing that they're going to do, of course, we know that we're already going to get Morgan and Lilith and things like that, but hopefully they expand into things like Mai Shiranui, we get Terry Bogard and things like that. That kind of stuff I'm looking forward to. And I'm wondering how many licenses they can get a hold of that they can bring into Storm Arena, because if you tell me that Storm Arena is going to do Mortal Kombat figures, I'm on board. At that point, I would be 1,000% on board. That is for me. So things like that. I don't know. Like that's where my mind, I'm very excited about what Storm Arena can bring. And I'm very much looking forward to getting my first couple figures, and those are the ones that specifically I put up to get. We are Punisher. Punisher wins. Okay. No, that's fine. Okay. Well, here we go. Shane. Walking Dead. Wait, oops. Punisher. Marvel Legends. I know. I get it. The first thing I ever seen him in was The Walking Dead. I don't know if that's common. I don't know if that's uncommon. I don't know if he did something before then. I don't know if he was well known before they got him in The Walking Dead. That was the first thing I ever saw him in. And then when I saw that, of course, his character dies in The Walking Dead, and then I hear that he's going to be playing the Punisher in the Daredevil series. And I just watched all of the Daredevil season 1, and I was blown away by that. I mean, I was blown away by that. I still, even now, feel like that is the best comic book series, live action series I have ever seen. I don't feel like a single episode is wasted. I don't feel like there's any actual downtime. I feel like everything that is done in the 13 episodes that they get matters. And I feel like they're not wasting their time. They're telling one coherent narrative like a big giant movie. And I just love the way it plays out. And I love how much time we get with characters. Characters make series work. That's just the way that it is. You can't do a series or a movie or a show. You can't do it. Or comic books. Comic books is one that I have a problem with. There's a reason I stepped away from single issues. And I'm dead serious. I think this is important. It kills me that over and over and over again, when I grew up, okay, old man stuff, here comes old man stuff. When I grew up, I read a single issue comic book, and they were complete stories. And the threads that tied the stories together was what was going on with the characters. That's the truth of the matter. Spider-Man would deal with the Green Goblin. Okay, whatever. That's the background story. It kind of is. There's like an A plot and a B plot. The A plot continues on forever. The B plot is the adventure of the day. Wolverine fights Sabretooth, whatever. But the A plot is that Aunt May meets a person and yada yada, and then they get to talking, and then this character is introduced, and now there's 2 or 3 people in the high school. Like, this moves on forever. Those are characters. Characters develop over time. What I started to feel like, what I started to see, was that over and over and over again, as I was reading single-issue comic books, as stories began to change the way that they were presented, instead of doing one story where you could read it and it was start to finish, it was done, everything was in parts. Everything was in parts. To the point where now you get a comic book that reads like an older comic book. They're just called one-shots. Like, they're called one-shots. Oh, you can read the whole story in one sitting. Oh my God, you mean like I did all the way up until I was like almost 20 years old? That's amazing. That's amazing. Like, it's just so ridiculous to me. And like, so, I know this is some old man shit. I know, okay? I get it. But it's because of that I started realizing I would buy one book. This is one of 8. You have to get all 8. Not all 8 are even in the same thing, because you have to like start reading X-Men, but then you have to jump over to this other book, and then for some reason, or like Batman would do it all the time, where it'd be like Batman part 1, 2, and 3 is in like Batman, and then Detective Comics, and then you got to go over to whatever's going on in the Nightwing book, and I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to read books this way. I mean, I get the idea of it, showing other characters and things like that, but like, this is not the way that I want to read books. I want to sit down and I want to finish it. And then I was starting to realize that the way that they jumped you through these books, you never really got to know anybody for any real extended amount of time. The side characters, the characters don't matter. They don't develop. We don't care. They don't mean anything, because we'll literally meet this one person, then jump off, because if we're only reading like Batman, we see this group and then these people, and who cares about them? And then we go back to the book that we were actually trying to read, and we get through their story, and then when it feels like we're finally developing characters, there's an event. The world collapses. There's a Leviathan, or Death Clock, or a Deceased, or zombies, or friggin' Final Count, or stupid bat metal, or apocalypse, or like, I'm just like, oh my God, I couldn't do it anymore. I didn't feel like the stories were going anywhere. I didn't feel like we were giving the main runs time to breathe anymore. We were just going from event to event to event to event, and it really burnt me out. And the point that I dropped off was bat metal. We had just went from literally an event to an event to an event, while I'm trying to read the Batman book, while I'm trying to get a grasp of characters. I'm 40-something books in. I'm reading Tom King's jerk-off narrative to Batman. And like, then all of a sudden, bat metal. And I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. So I had to step out of comic books, and I had to refocus where my interest was. I want to read developing stories, and I want to read the complete things. So I now buy graphic novels and omnibus. Until the story is done and I can put it on my shelf and it has a spine and I can like pull it out, read the whole thing in a single sitting and put it back. I guess I can't do that with an omnibus, but you get the idea. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm uninterested. I don't care what the crossover is. I don't care what it is. I don't care how exciting it is. And even recently, they did something very similar with, they promised Ninja Turtles crossing over with Masters of the Universe. And I bought that book day one, and it starts in the middle of something else. Like, obviously, it has already been taking place. The Ninja Turtles are already on Eternia. They already know everybody. They're already in this universe. They've been there for months. There was a storyline that already took place before that. There's no indication of any of this because it literally calls itself, the book is just Motu TMNT. It's just presented as if this is a first ever crossover. They will meet for the first time. Here you go. That's not what's happening. And I'm just blown away while I'm reading it. Like, it feels like you're starting in the middle. Maybe you have to have all the mini comics to get the start of that story. I don't know. I know it drives me crazy. So what I really loved about the Daredevil series was that we spent real time with everybody. We got to know their lives. We know the bar they go to. We know some of the background characters like the bartender. We know Foggy. Like, this is not an accident. We actually get to know people as we go. We know very specific police officers. We know very specific other lawyers. We know about Wilson Fisk, but we also know about the people that surround him that have very specific stories and details that come out as the stories go on. These are characters. That blows me away. Then they tell me this guy is going to be the Punisher. And I'm like, they're going to introduce the Punisher in Daredevil. Okay, I'm sold. And in a Daredevil show, because they spend so much time developing real character work, this guy got fleshed out so well that they gave him his own series. I'm serious about that. I don't think this happens if Daredevil wasn't the kind of show that it was. If it didn't take its time, if it didn't put out the idea and work with its character narrative the way that it did, this guy would have been like 3-4 episodes maybe. Think about shows like, this is going to sound so bad, but think about a show like The Flash, where you actually get to a point where they're like, hey, by the way, this guy, you know about this guy, right? He's like a guy that exists, and he's a guy, and he's a superhero in DC, and there he is. He's in that episode. That's cool, right? And you're like, yeah, I guess that was pretty cool. He did a pretty good job. And they're like, great, we'll bring him back in, like, I don't know, seven episodes. Maybe he'll come back randomly. Maybe he won't. You don't know. We don't know. Who even cares? Maybe he's dead now. Maybe there's an alternate universe version of the same guy that we'll bring back, and it'll be him, but it won't be him. Stop that! Like that kind of stuff kills me. And I think the reason this did so well is the way it chooses to do its character development. And now, he has done so well that he shows up in Daredevil, goes off to his own series, and now he's in the new Spider-Man movie. Like, they're not messing around. Like, the Daredevil series is fantastic. So I was very thrilled when they said they were going to release Daredevil figures for this series, from the series. And I said, great. Who are we getting? Oh, well, we're getting Daredevil and the Punisher. Okay. All right, I'm sold. Then I saw promotional images. I bought Daredevil and I passed on him. I would like to thank the chat specifically, because we talked about this in one of the lives, and I had passed on him, saying that something about his face didn't seem right in the promotional images. It bugged me, and I decided this isn't for me. I passed on it. Well, the chat brought up that it was worth checking out, that I definitely needed to give it a shot. Well, on recommendation, I said, all right, well, I trust myself that I'm honest enough with everybody in terms of the show. I try to be as honest with the things that I'm presenting and talking about as I possibly can. And I feel like they're doing me the same solid. If they don't like a thing, like certain joint configurations or something like that, they'll usually say so. So it came up, Bill, he looks great. See him in person. I took it as an okay. I just ordered it. I didn't go find it in person. I just said, all right, look, they're saying it's good. I'm going to take a chance. I clicked. I got him. Well, he's here now. Let's see him. All right. So, this is him. He comes with an expression hand, a trigger finger hand. Does that seem weird? Like, does anybody else think it's weird that the Punisher would come with? Why would he come with a trigger finger hand? No, he's one of the times that it actually finally makes sense. I can't tell you how many times we've brought it up in this show where we're like, why does he have a trigger finger hand? What are we doing? This actually makes perfect sense. He should have a trigger finger hand. Now, what I am going to say is he should also have a gripping hand. He does not. Minor complaint. Stupid complaint. First level stupid complaint that doesn't really have an impact on anything. This won't stop him from holding said hatchet, but it is worth mentioning that it's very strange to me, and I think it's a Hasbro thing. I don't know for this for sure, but it feels like a Hasbro thing. Hasbro toys, like Star Wars, the Black Series, continually puts out Jedis with lightsabers, with trigger finger hands. Why? Why are you doing that? You can't sculpt one grip hand and just give it to 40-something guys? What are we doing? Like, why? That doesn't make sense to me. And they continue it like, they give you a punching hand because they're like, Punisher's going to probably punch somebody. And plus, we have like 80 of these hands. What's the problem here? And he's going to need trigger finger hands for both hands, by the way. Both hands. He's got one here. He's got one here. I do not claim to know this 100%. Is he ambidextrous? I don't know. I'm actually asking kind of a real question here. Because the figure came with a gun. One. That is it. So, like, if I am to assume that the hand that he already came with attached is his primary hand, well, then there's the gun in his right hand, and I would assume that he then doesn't use his left hand to shoot. I'm not claiming that I know. I'm just kind of making a generalization. And then he comes with a hatchet and a knife. And just like in the G.I. Joes, also Hasbro, the knife actually goes there, which is fantastic, by the way. And the gun can actually go here, which is fantastic, by the way. And then he could carry this, and then he literally is holding everything. He's holding everything that he actually comes with. But like I said, and I'm just kind of talking, really. Why give us this? Why not a gripping hand for this here? Like they gave us an expression hand, or something of that extent. I don't even know if that's what we're going to call it. It's a weird hand. It's like, let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. You see his hand? It like opens, but it's not a trigger hand, and it's not necessarily an expression hand, but it's not like a gripping hand. I don't know exactly what this hand is for. Maybe he could grab somebody by the throat. Is that big enough? Is that a big enough hand? I don't know. He could grab somebody's arm with that hand, which I guess, like, I don't know what this hand is for. I don't know, because it's like this. I don't know what this is. Like, he can't hold this with it. He can't hold the gun with it. So this finger it's not like a bigger gun type of thing. He didn't come with like a rocket launcher or something where he would have held it or something to that extent. I don't know what this hand is, but I feel like by now we should have just a standard gripping hand for things like this or his knife. None of this matters. None of it. It's all exactly what it sounds like. It's complaining nerd crap. Okay? Is fan crap. It's all it is. It's just something that I always notice. I don't get what's going on. And that's what I'll say. And because I actually think this was just pointed out, and I think I've actually heard this a couple of times now, that this hand is meant for holding a rifle. So the idea would be that this hand, something to the extent of this. If that's the idea, why does he only come with a handgun? I know other people have probably collected G.I. Joes. Okay? Because I get it. I have G.I. Joes. There's an entire line of them up there. It's not like I don't have spare rifles I can give him. So I will not suffer for this. But say you collect Marvel Legends. That's all you collect. You are a Legends guy. He comes with a handgun. And a weird hand. Like that's what you would get. You can't repurpose this hand to be what it's supposed to be because he doesn't come with what's needed for that, to be that. Does that seem weird? It seems minorly incomplete. Once again, let me be 100% here. I am not mad at this figure. At all. Like, not even in the least. Everything about him looks really good. You could argue that he's not painted well. He's mostly black. That's what he is. So let's curb that immediately. The face is good. Like, that looks like him. You could probably say that we could have used one or two extra heads, that this kind of looks like he's a little sad. But if you get into the base of his character, some of that makes sense. And I'm sure that we will get other figures as this goes, especially now that he's in the Spider-Man movie. Once you get into the movies, okay, you're going to get figures. This will not be the only one we see. We'll get other face sculpts, and if they are at this level, we're going to get other expressions, and we're going to love them. Okay, that's what I'll say. The skull, I love that faded skull. That is beautiful. I absolutely love it. It's fantastically done. We also have the patches on the figure, which are done very well. I don't know if it's the simplicity of the fact that they just crafted a, like, you know, basically an all black suit figure. So they were allowed to do certain things where their paint apps could kind of really shine, but it's noticeable. It's noticeable because it's an all black figure, that when they give it little areas like these, like the little dots here, so like his buttons and things like that actually got colored, that works. That works, and it works real well. He's not going to be posing in certain ways. He doesn't have the lower ab articulation. Is that a problem? For him, I would argue it's not a problem. This is not the kind of character that moves around like Spider-Man. So he doesn't need that, per se. One could argue that the average person in shape like this can do a sit-up, and the fact that he can't do a crunch is offsetting, and by now, all figures should come with a certain range of articulation, but I would also argue that I don't know that it's as important for him, back up, as it would have been for other characters. I think this works. I don't think I have a problem with it. Camera, stop following me. Calm down, okay? I really got to shut that down. I got to shut it down. I'm working on it. I downloaded a program that allows me to like go into the camera and whatnot, but then like I didn't do it because I'm lazy. I'm just doing editing and stuff like that instead of actually going in and doing it's like a single button push, but whatever. I don't care. I'll get to it. I like him. I do. There are minor things that we can complain about. Oh, he's got that dual neck. Look at that. He's got the dual neck. I didn't expect that, in all honesty. I know that we're seeing that in like on the regular in terms like G.I. Joe, but in terms of Marvel Legends, we haven't been seeing that. But he has it. That gives a lot of range to their head, you know? It doesn't seem like it would make that big of a deal or that big of a difference, but like it really does. Like if you're into these figures and whatnot, and you've been collecting them for a while, and you got a lot of figures that don't have that neck, and then you get one that does, you'll find out very quickly just how much range that really does add. It is cool. Otherwise, I mean, he's got a lot going back here. He's good. He's good. They continued the paint so that if you do something about this ridiculous, which there's no reason that he should like look like this, but if you did, they continue the paint on enough that it actually works. I see very little, aside from my nitpicks, which that's exactly what they are, let's be honest with it. I don't see much that I'm sitting here in need of complaining about. Like very, very, very little. The articulation would probably be the only part that I would kind of harp on the littlest bit, because I am kind of in that spot where I feel like the lower torsos should all be like people can do this. Like I can look, I'm 42. I still have lower ab articulation. Okay? Everybody should. But I don't think it's going to matter with him. And you could also argue that because of the equipment he's wearing, maybe it makes sense to block that off. I'm saying you could make arguments to get around it. Doesn't matter that much. He's good. He's good. He's real good. I do. I like this. Aside from very minor complaints, which I have to go out of my way to make those complaints, I appreciate that you talked me into getting this guy. I do. I really do. Because he's solid, man. He's cool. He's good. He looks good. Looks great. You got to hand it to the way they're doing faces now, man. It's impressive what they are pulling off with faces. Like, some of these are so absolutely spot on. And the price range that they're at, that they're getting that level, is just shocking. Added to the shelf. Love it. It's great. Let's get the next one set up while we go to the chat. Oops. There we go. All right, so the next wave is going to be, because I went there, 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 there. So we're going to do that. We're doing that, that. Oh. And there. So that'll put that up in rotation. And I need to get rid of these. Those are going to go back there. And this is going to go to the side just in case. And then we're going to go up here while we let some of this play out. Let me move that. Okay, let's see. TMNT Secret of the Ooze 4-pack VHS box display box went up for sale on NECA and sold out in minutes. Went to check out, and it said the item is sold out. Oh my gosh. Heard some early reviews on the new Street Fighter movie. Heard some early reviews on the new Street Fighter movie is goofy, and die-hard Street Fighter fans did not like it. I don't know that surprises me too much. Like I said, I've been kind of holding back on how I felt about it because I've already lived through this multiple times, and I'm kind of expecting this to play out again. I don't mean to be cynical, but I'm just kind of honest about where these movie projects are and how much they really care or understand the material they're playing with, or how realistic they can be about adapting some of it. But will I still end up watching it? I watched Fan 4-Stick, so I don't really have much that I can say when it comes to I'm not going to see that movie. Please, please. I'll end up seeing it. I know I will. And then I'll be right on board with everybody else. Or I'll be the one offset weird guy that's like, look, what did we expect? At least I had fun. Like I'm kind of like that sometimes. So we'll see. Speaking of the Punisher, Bill, what are your thoughts on the trailer for the Spider-Man Brand New Day? I have a couple of thoughts. One, we know Daredevil is in it. Let's just stop with that. We know you're not going to do a movie where Spider-Man fights the Hand, where you've already introduced the Punisher, and then tell me that Daredevil has no stake in the movie whatsoever. Really? If he is not in it, I will be stupefied. It's not entirely impossible because we've currently got him. We don't know exactly where some of his stuff is falling in terms of how busy he is filming things like Born Again and things like that. So it's possible that we don't see him, but I'm hard pressed to believe that. I have a feeling that he's in there, and I have a feeling he's been deleted or withheld from the trailer on purpose. 2, are we bringing in the Punisher so that we can play off of the Man-Spider arc? Now, I realize it was a little different in the comic books and things like that, and it's a little different, but in the television series, in the animated series that we grew up with, the Punisher was a big part of that specific storyline, the Man-Spider. And they even went as far as to show the van and everything, which kind of plays back to that animated series. I know it's a Punisher thing. I'm just saying in general. Like, there's a lot here that makes me feel like there's a reason that they're going the direction they're going. Are we going to see the introduction, or at least in the background, introductive talks about mutants. I'm curious about that because there's an image very specific that a lot of people are talking about with a girl on a bus when he hits the bus. Could that be who some people are arguing it is? I don't know. But the thing with trailers, it looks good. I'm looking forward to seeing it. First off, Spider-Man suit. Finally. I'm going to say it again. I know there are some people that don't agree with me. I don't care. As of now, where we are currently sitting with Spider-Man in the MCU, I was overly thrilled when they said he was coming to the MCU. I have liked every actor that has been a part of the Spider-Man in the MCU. I have enjoyed it for what it is worth. I really have. Problem. Big problem. And I don't care what their excuse is. The removal of Uncle Ben, because that's what it was. The removal of Uncle Ben was a problem in the MCU. I don't care how tired of people are. I don't care. That is a character that needs Uncle Ben in order to function, not Tony Stark. Uncle Tony Stark should not be as important to Spider-Man as the actual Uncle Ben should be to Spider-Man. His wisdom, his rock, his foundation comes from the time he spent with his uncle, the lessons he learned. That suit looks finally made by him. It looks cheaper than other superhero costumes, and it should, because it should be made by a guy who's living in the situation that he's living in. It should not be a technical Marvel suit. I didn't like the Spider-Man costume in any of the movies that we have seen in the MCU so far. And I didn't like how Spider-Man was handed tech, money, and opportunity over and over and over and over and over. It drove me crazy. I detest that Iron Man was as big a part as he was in the Spider-Man mythos for the MCU. I can't stand it. I'm sorry. Some people don't feel that way. I cannot stand it. Now, all the griping I just did, I liked all the Spider-Man movies. I can take issue with things, and I can be thoroughly irritated with things and still enjoy those things. Maybe I'm odd. I don't know. I'm the kind of guy that can literally sit down and watch Star Trek 1 all the way to the last movie, and there's not a single movie that I will not enjoy. Not one. I'm telling you, I can do it. It doesn't bother me. I like all of them. Every single one of them. I like Spider-Man Sam Raimi 1, 2, and 3. I like them all. Unironically. Not even like, I like to sit down and laugh at this one. I like all of the movies. It does not bother me. There are things that I can complain heavily about whilst I watch those movies, but I do not find myself coming out of the movies without having had a good time in the movie, enjoying the story that was presented to me at the time that it was presented to me. So I am kind of odd in that way. I can ream the Spider-Man MCU movies for days and then sit down with you and watch them and be like, oh, I love this. I know that's probably bizarre. I can do it. It doesn't get to me. There's definitely some things I'm interested in. I want to know what's going on. Are we doing like a Mr. Negative thing? Because I see like an old lady in a tank, and then like, has something been deleted? Because here's the thing. We know that when Spider-Man is jumping at the hand, we know, just like back with this Spider-Man and the multiple Spider-Men, that they were deleting the other Spider-Men from the trailers. We know that. We're not stupid. We know that trailers have been playing this game for a while. Are we doing that again? Does something come out of that tank and he is watching it? Because it seems like he watches something come out of that tank where the old lady was. And I even hear people saying something like, oh, it's moving fast or something like that. And what is going on there? Is it like a mind thing? Are we dealing with some sort of like mind control thing like Mr. Negative? I'm very curious. I don't think realistically that we can judge this trailer by what we are being seen. I think the trailer is highly edited and manipulated. But I am very interested. That's what I'm going to put out there. I don't think that what you are seeing in the trailer realistically is what you will see point for point in the movie. I think it has been highly edited, altered, changed, some things deleted, some things purposely made invisible, some things left out. I even think some of the dialogue has been altered or changed on purpose to guarantee that people don't guess the movie before they go. And I think that's been kind of common with a lot of Disney stuff lately. And that's kind of where I'm sitting with some of that. Did you see The Bomb Usher? Sorry. Mint, have you seen Bomboos be Street Fighter's figures, Chun-Li? What I'm going to say, I saw Bumblebee, if that's probably what you meant to say. I saw that the Cammy Bumblebee is coming out. I'm looking forward to that. A story like those are the things that absolutely have me interested in terms of stuff like that. I very much, because like the Cammy Bumblebee, that's something that I've been asking for a while, because I already have a fantastic Cammy figure from Jada. Now getting Bumblebee to stand alongside, that's going to be amazing. And we can get the other dolls too, because once they have that body cap, they can just kind of reuse that outfit over and over and over again, swapping heads and minor details. I think it's fantastic. It looks good to me. I'm excited for the movie. And Jean Grey is in it too. Okay. So maybe there's a good chance that we are seeing... Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Punisher series was good. I'm looking forward to actually watching that. See, I skipped out on a lot of the series. A lot of them. Because I got overwhelmed. Now I'm kind of going back through and I'm watching the series that I didn't see, and I'm on Daredevil season 3. I'm kind of going in a chronological order of what the streaming app claims. I know it's not accurate, but I plan to go. Like I've never actually finished Jessica Cruz, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing her. I never watched even a single episode of of Iron Fist. I did watch Luke Cage. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing these things that I didn't see now that there's no hype and no rush behind it. I can take my time and kind of enjoy it. Let's see. Looks like DC has won, so let's set that up before I go further. Oh my. There. Okay, so what do we have here? We have... I know that's something that's sitting down here. We also have... I have this, and then I also have... That, I think, is everything sitting down there. If it's not, I know that most of it is, and we will be able to talk about it. Okay, let's see. What are your thoughts on the NECA TMNT Stan Sakai turtles, and do you think that they work as a good substitute for the Mirage turtles? Now that's... You just asked a question that I was asking myself. I am in argument with myself about that, because I loved the idea of the Mirage Turtles. I did not buy them. At the time, I was spending money elsewhere. Hey, I've said it a million times. Let's say it a million more times. Let's make it an anthem of the channel. $20 spent here is $20 you can't spend here. And I was spending $20 here, and the turtles came out here, and they were like, hey, we're really good-looking turtles, and we're literally the Mirage turtles. We got the red bandanas. We got the boxy builds. Let's do this, man. Let's do it. This is something you've wanted forever. And I'm like, you're right, but I'm going to buy this over here. And that was it. Like, when they sold out and they were gone. Now, I know there's been other opportunities since then, but it always seems like I either talk myself out of it or there's something else at the exact same time, and I just don't get them. But I do want them. And then I see this thing come out, this Stan Sakai collection, and I'm like, this is really good. Like, it's really good. I love the idea that they're kind of blending the two. That he's influenced enough by the Mirage Turtles and whatnot that we kind of got this going on. Is it a good fold-in? Like, instead of getting those, could you get these? And back up. We're just talking turtles. It ain't that important, camera. Could you get these instead of those and you'd be more than happy? I'm fighting with myself on the exact same question. I really am. It feels like you could. It feels like they're just close enough that you would get over it. And you would be like, oh, this is kind of the blend of what I know growing up with and what the comic books were. And here they are kind of together and they work for me. And I'm you could be very happy with that. I don't see that you'd have too much of a problem. But would it always nag in the back of your head that you didn't get the Mirage Turtles? Like, would it not matter, even if they are good enough stand-ins? Would it sit there and just nag at you? Hey, we're not quite what you were going for, are we? We're not exactly that, are we? That Raphael is close, but his facial dimensions, his body is just a little bit different. We're not exact, are we? Would that drive you nuts? I don't know. Like, I'm on the same question you are, in all honesty. I'm not sure. Like, I'm really not. I don't have an answer for that because I'm kind of sitting exactly at the same point. I was fighting with myself as to whether or not that's a good enough stand-in. Like, so I don't know. I did that with Death of the Family. I had to read Joker's Daughter, then Batman, then Suicide Squad, then Catwoman, then Nightwing, then Batman. Again, getting a Joker collection book is better. Right. I have, because people get defensive when you attack the way that they read, or attack the way they visualize a character, or attack the way, they get defensive. We like the things that we like. Some things speak to us. We like certain characters. We like certain people's takes. We like certain comic books. We like certain writers. And that's where we find our home. And sometimes when you attack somebody's like, you're no longer dealing with anything that's like looking to be logical about the situation. There are people that are going to tell you, oh, well, it's just that you don't understand comics, and comics is expansive, and you shouldn't be so closed-minded, and yada, yada. There are problems here. Problems that have existed in comic books for a long time now that aren't getting better. They're not learning. They're hurting themselves. From availability to this crap right here. I have thousands of comic books. It's not an exaggeration. It's not an understatement. I have 12 long boxes in my living room right now. I have an entire bookshelf of unread in my living room right now. Single issues, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books that were picked up over the course of going to conventions, buying 50-cent bins, collecting. I had a 47-book pull list. To say that I'm not untried would be untrue. But I did reach a breaking point. I have 2 bookshelves now. One with over 1,000 books that I never read because I was waiting for stories to finish, and then I ended up reading something else, and now I just have ridiculous amount of floppy books that are just sitting around. I haven't read them. And I don't know when, if ever, I will get to them, because they feel daunting now. And then I have another bookcase, which is only graphic novels. And I have read almost all of them. Because when I want to read Batman Nightfall, it's in 3 volumes. It has a sturdy spine. It goes on the shelf. 1, 2, 3. It looks beautiful. I pull it off the shelf, and it's a time capsule to that storyline. And I read the entire thing, not in one sitting. And then I put volume 1 back up on the shelf, and I go, that was really cool. I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Ultimate Collection, 1 through 7 so far. I love to just pull it off the shelf and read it uninterrupted. And if stories deviate and go into things like tales or something, it just does that. Like this, like you're saying, a collection book. I would rather read one sit-down collection book in a single sitting than, in order to read Death of the Family, read Joker's Daughter, then Batman, then Suicide Squad, then Catwoman, then Nightwing, then Batman. Stop it. I can't stand that. Like, and you know what? It was happening when I was a kid. So it's not like this is something that happened overnight and I just got tired and I got some old man crap. This has been something that's been bleeding on me for years. This started, for me, all the way back in the trial of Peter Parker. I wanted to read it. Peter Parker's on trial for murder? Well, I know that can't be what's going on. What's going on? Oh, well, I have to read Peter Parker. I have to read Web of Spider-Man. I have to read Amazing Spider-Man. I have to read Spectacular Spider-Man. Like, oh my God. I mean, it was like, I think it was like 4 parts, but it like encompassed every single book that was currently on the market of Spider-Man. And if you were reading, say, Spectacular or Web of Spider-Man, and you got up to that point, it just interrupted the story that was currently going on, so you could read part 3 of the trial of Peter Parker, and then jumped you right back. That is mind-numbing, because now, also, if you're a collector and you're putting these away, do you put them away by storyline? Or does that make it weird? Like, you're putting away all the web ofs, but you know that, like, Web of 37, general number, I don't know if that's real, I'm just saying. You got to pull 37 out and put that with its storyline? Or you got to buy 2 of them, one that can go with the storyline and one that goes so that's uninterrupted? Or do you just have that, but then you know that if you ever go back and you're like reading them, you got to like thumb through and find it? You got to be like, okay, well, I'm currently reading Spectacular, and I've gotten to the point where the trial of Peter Parker is taking place, so now I got to go and find the other 2 books in the other collections and the other boxes. That is a nightmare. I hate that. It is the reason I walked away from single comic books. I can't stand it. And every single one of the series, every big comic book does this crap to absolute tedium now, and I can't take it. I'm 100% graphic novel and omnibus now. I can't even fathom the idea anymore of buying single issues. I just can't do it. I got them and think they are awesome. Articulation isn't limited, but the design and paint jobs are great, and love them. Worth it to me. Mint is limited, not isn't, is limited. So he has an answer here. To me, better than the Mirage. That's interesting. And to go ahead and give credit where credit is due, he collects turtles on a much higher level than I do. So if he's saying that this is the way he feels about it, I would take his opinion before mine. That's what I would do. Because he buys them turtles. I know that. Okay, does the Punisher need a flight stand? No. But he could have came with a couple explosions. If you wanna nitpick and do something about it, you sold me a Punisher that comes with the gun. That, by the way, has the empty barrel. By the way, the gun is empty. The barrel is empty. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if we can. But see, it's got the hole in the barrel. You sold me a Punisher that has the hole in the barrel, but you didn't give me a flash effect. See, we can complain all day about dumb crap. If that's what you want to do, we can do it. Absolutely. No, sir, he does not. It has been trending with Hasbro recently. It started with Toby and Andrew Spider-Man and has continued with figures since, when the Secret Wars Daredevil has the mismatch hand issue as well. Interesting. So this is not something that's exactly rare either. Makes about as much sense as Abomination having no fists. Dude, I did not complain about that. Because I was too busy laughing at the fact that he was packed into the box and I was having him walk around. I was just having dumb fun with that character. I was loving that I got him. He's right up there. I love him. I don't care. But, however, 100%, it was in the aftermath after having fun, because these are first impressions. I don't do reviews necessarily. I talk about fandom, why they're important to me, what it brings up in my memories. I just like to talk fandom and toys while I'm opening things and having first impressions. And on first impression, I was having too much fun to realize that there was a problem. Later, when I'm sitting around and I'm like, oh, I can get some pictures of him fighting the Hulk. He seems to be missing something. How does he punch the Hulk? And then it started hitting me. Did I screw up? And I went back and I pulled the box and I opened it and I was like, what's going on? That's weird. I actually went back and watched it to see if I'd screwed up. Like, did I throw the hands away? He came with different heads. But, like, I would have been happy with just that head. Just the head they had on him. Where are these? That is weird. Where are these at? Like, what is going on? Dude, that is very weird. It's true. If you have an assault rifle, that hand is made to go under the gun for support. Okay? To be fair, he did not use an assault rifle in the show. And that is fair. That is fair. But then why give him the hand for it? You get it? Kind of wish I had a show that we could talk about nerdy stuff like trailers and shows. Oh, well. I agree. I kind of wish that you had something like that, too. I don't like the web shooters on the outside of his suit, but it's nitpicking. Okay. I'm not going to say you're wrong. Is that him? That's him. It's something that I'm not mad about. Because right now, the Spider-Man costume that we got, it's so good that I'm willing to let a lot go. Because the web shooters on the outside of the hand feels like a Ben Reilly thing, personally. That's what it feels like. It is kind of bizarre that it's not on the inside of the suit hidden. However, just to put this out there, where he is in his life now, where he doesn't have the money and doesn't have the resources and doesn't have Uncle Tony Stark backing him up, maybe that's the best he can do, and it pushes the idea that this Spider-Man is now cut off from everything that he had and is finally living the life that Peter Parker lives in the books and the shows. Every time he has a show, he is barely making it. And every time he has a book, he is barely making it. He is the everyday guy with the lowest possible income, scraping out a living in New York City, where life is hard, prices are high, and he's also trying to do all of this superhero stuff, which other people are doing with millions of dollars of backing on a shoestring. He doesn't have it. And that's one of the things that's always been interesting about him. Let's be honest about other superheroes. Captain America, he's funded by the Avengers or funded by S.H.I.E.L.D. Is stupid money, stupid resources. His suit, being what it is infinitely more impressive than Peter Parker's spandex. The Fantastic Four have stupid money. Sometimes they act like they don't, but come on. Look at some of the stuff that Reed Richards is able to do. They have stupid money. Their costumes are incredibly advanced. They would look, even looking goofy, more impressive than Spandex Kid. He doesn't have any money. He doesn't have any means. Half the crap that he makes, and the video game does a real good job with it. In order to create Spider-Man tech, he is like pulling apart old electronics and stealing from the laboratory that he works at. That's Parker. That's Parker absolute. That works. So maybe we're finally seeing a return to the idea that he no longer has resources, which, if that's the way they would like to show it and kind of go from there, I'm for that. I think I'm for that. I really am. But it does feel like a Ben Reilly thing to have the web shooters on the outside of the suit. I can get that. I can get that. Absolutely. Heath Ledger, Joker. This movie made waves. I loved it. This is one of those things where if I sat here for the next 20 minutes and talked about the Batman movie, it would be about ridiculous. My experience was like everybody else's. It's true. It's like everybody else's. The only thing I could tell you that maybe was different, but I still would argue it's just like everybody else, when they announced him, they said, Heath Ledger has been cast as the Joker. And I said, the 10 things I hate about you guy? The Knight's Tale guy? What? Why? And then I had to back myself off. And I said, hold on. People didn't want Michael Keaton to be Batman. Every now and then, a casting comes along that blows me away and changes the way I feel about a certain actor. Case in point, John Leguizamo is one of my favorite actors ever. Ever. The first thing I ever saw him in was The Pest. Coming off of The Pest, I seen him in another movie, Empire. And I said, this is amazing. And I'm not kidding. If you have not seen John Leguizamo's Empire, that is one of the best movies he has ever done, and one of the best movies, period. I'm not kidding. It is very, very good. Very good. Absolute. These thumbs can't go high enough. I loved it. Giving actors an opportunity to expand is important. Leonardo DiCaprio, when he first showed up, I seen him in Titanic. And I said, heartthrob kid, He's probably going to look pretty. He's going to do a couple of romance movies. He's going to bleed out. Oh, nice call, Bill. You really nailed that one. Not even close. Because then I seen him, not that he didn't do a bunch of movies before this, but then I seen him in The Departed. All right, you're an actor now. You're an actor now. So it's nothing I can say about it. You are an actor. Come act. You've earned that right. You could go on and on and on with this. Like, you really could. And he was one of them. They said, Heath Ledger is going to be the Joker. Did you ever think, when they first announced it, that you would see that? That this image would become the level of icon that it is? Because I'm telling you, I didn't think so. Like, that blew me away. His introduction, the way that they took him so seriously, like I said, I could go, pointless. It's pointless because we could do this forever. We could talk about this for the next 30 minutes and I wouldn't hit on anything that wasn't everybody else's experience, that anybody else has ever already talked about to themselves or in their living room. I'm not telling a story here. Mine was not unique. This shocked people. It was so good. So unbelievably well done. And yes, is it the best Batman movie? I didn't freeze, I'm thinking. Oh, man. If I say no, how's that look? If I say yes, how's that look? If I say yes, I'm like everybody else. Of course, that's the best Batman movie. It's not even a question. It's so good. Is that opinion invalid? No, it's not. But if I say it's not the best Batman movie, and then I have to come over here with another one that claims to be better than what this was, can I do it? And can I do it in a way that makes you believe it? Or does it sound like, oh, Bill's trying to be one of those guys that likes the other thing because, like, that makes him different and special? Because you encounter that. You encounter people that they like the other Mega Man game because, like, you know, that makes them different. It makes them special. It makes them like something a little different than what you like because they see the merit in things that you don't see. They're a little more refined than you are. But, like, I'm going to be honest with you. I've watched the Nolan trilogy multiple times. And over time, I'm having difficulty. I actually think, I know this is going to blow some people's minds and it's going to sound a certain way. The first movie is the worst movie. They're all three very good. Very good. Probably I wouldn't even say probably. It is the best continual Batman story in all of movie history. Nothing has come close yet. Nothing. Those three movies, all three of them, solid, AAA, fantastic, unbelievable. Watch them. They're great. I don't care. I think the first one is the worst one. But over time, I have had this weird admiration building that every time I watch the third movie, it feels like it gets better and better and better and better. And the third movie can't happen without this. This has to set the stage for the third movie to even happen, which argues, does this have to be the better movie? Because without this, the third movie can't even exist. And I have argued on this channel that if you have to do homework to enjoy the movie that you're watching, then that movie is trash. It doesn't actually stand alone. I'm not saying you can't like it, but if homework and reading novels and all this other stuff is required for your movie to work, for me to understand it, then I don't care. I don't have time for it. You can't watch that movie without this. You could watch this and having never seen the first movie, nothing would happen. It would just be the second movie, and you'd watch it. And sure, you'd miss out on a couple things here and there, but it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter, like at all. Like not at all. You'd be like, oh, okay, I kind of get it, blah, blah, blah. Oh, all right, I'm caught up to speed. It's been 10 minutes into the movie. I get exactly what we're doing. That doesn't happen in the third movie. You have to have this movie for the third movie to work at all. But I might, depending on the day you talk to me, I might like that third movie more. But I don't know. I really don't. That's... Just ask myself a really tough question. He comes with guns. Let's see him. All right. Well, acceptable. Acceptable. But if this was a flight stand, because the way that he does his flight stands, there's an argument to be had here. I'm just going to say it. I don't care. I'm going to say it. There's an argument to be made that if this was a flight stand and we just didn't plug in that back part, it would just be one of these. And that's fine for a character that doesn't fly, because he doesn't. But if he just stood up and it didn't give us any trouble to make him stand up, which I just made him stand up. He can stand on the shelf without this, which means that this would be real helpful for, like, Green Lanterns and things that fly. I'm just saying. Just putting it out there. I'm just saying. Like it matters. Oh my gosh. Open. There. Okay. So, we get this. because reasons, which this is fine. You can put it that way or you can put it that way. That's up to you. Oh, it doesn't go on this. I was completely wrong. What is this for? Just a big card? We just got big card. Big card, there we go. It's big card. This is what this is for. So this stupid thing holds a card. McFarlane, you could have kept this. You could have kept this. In fact, with the extra plastic that you used on this, I'm just saying, I could have got a flight stand. I'm just going to put that out there. Look, this is a little too gimmick for me. I don't collect things like pops. I don't collect trinket things like I used to. Like those kind of things don't mean anything to me. I don't know that this will. I don't know if this will survive a week in this room. Like, what am I going to do with this? And if I had like 40 of these, what am I going to do with those? Take up space on the back of the shelf or something like that, or put it in front of the characters? This is, I'm sure for some collectors, this is something. But if I was even going to keep these cards, I would just take this out and put it in one of those binder things. I wouldn't do this. This is pointless to me. That's stupid. And this is even more pointless. What is this for? Well, I mean, you paid for it. It's deluxe. You know, it's very deluxe-y, kind of. Whatever. Stupid. We have the rocket launcher that is specifically used in that scene where they're in the trucks and whatnot, and the Batmobile jumps to actually get hit by the rocket. That's actually pretty cool. After the semi flips, we have this gun right here that he uses to shoot random passing cars and things like that, and then tries to get the Batman to hit him. So here's this. So all of this is working with the movie so far. We have a knife, which we know what the knife was doing in that movie, and how he even used it to talk about things like, you know why I use a knife, and things of that nature. And then we have a gun. I want to be honest. I don't remember when he just used this. Like, just this. I'm not saying it's... I'm sure he shot enough in that movie that I'm sure this was a thing. But I almost feel like the shotgun, instead of just the little handgun, I almost feel like with the way that we're hitting movie point after movie point that I absolutely know, and maybe this is just the way that I'm picturing it, when he came... Like, when the guy's like, hey, you got to move that truck, and he came out from, bam! Like, that feels like the shotgun scene seems more impactful than handgun scene that I really can't even seem to recall. Whatever. Doesn't matter. We have an expression hand, which is good for this kind of thing. We have a trigger finger hand, so he can, shoot the guns that he came with. And, not for nothing, but, oh my gosh. I'm about to praise. This is unreal. This actually surprises me. I am about to praise McFarlane for doing something we just talked about that was not done for Marvel Legends. This guy got 2 trigger finger hands and a hand that doesn't make sense for the things that he came with, and no gripping hand for his knife. McFarlane gave us a trigger finger hand, and only one, by the way, because he shoots with predominantly his right hand. And then We got gripping hands, different kind, not trigger finger hands, gripping hands for the knife. He has hands that specifically work for the kinds of actions that he is meant to do by the items he comes with. That's impressive. For all the times that we talk about McFarlane, and for all the times that everybody wants to crap on it, that's an interesting level of detail right there. That's pretty good. I'm going to hand it to him on this one. I am surprised because we just had this discussion. And then, of course, he comes with his card, which I actually prefer this. Some people don't like this. I like when the hand is just sculpted with the item, the card that would be very, very easy to lose. I'm happier with this. I like a Batarang hand than I do a Batarang and this weird hand that's shaped kind of funny that barely even holds the Batarang anyway and doesn't really hold up, and then you lose the Batarang because it falls on your carpet or whatever. I 100% prefer this hand. So this is good for me. I love that. I think it's very, very good. Otherwise, here he is. And there's a part that a lot of people are complaining about. Whether or not the face is right. Whether or not the face is a problem. I've heard a lot of people say that it's too skin tone. And I've seen pictures that actually look like they could be right, that it could just be skin tone, which would be wrong. However, looking at it, seeing the neck, seeing the face, could this have been more white? I mean, you see it there. It should be kind of a stark white. And you see it here. So you could argue that this still isn't right. But looking at the difference between the neckline and the face, I'd say the color separation is there. It's not just one tone up. Also, they could be trying to emulate the scuffing, because I see the cheek here has less paint than the other cheek does. And it seems like he's worn on the cheeks, which makes me feel like this is after he's been in the interrogation scene, which would work for me. I would be on board with that. I think that works. The hair looks good. The likeness is fantastic. I don't know if anybody else is seeing it the way that I am. And of course, everybody has their own opinions on this. But for me, he's very passable. Like, I don't think that we're going to have a problem claiming that this is Heath. I think that's very, very well done. Turning it to the sides and everything like that. The hair seems well. The jacket is not going to get in the way. It's a nice material. And the suit, he's missing this middle abdomen piece. They didn't put the middle abdomen. He's got the upper torso, and then he's missing the middle abdomen. There's just like a bar in here. I can feel it. I'm not about to pull this stuff up and cause any kind of damage. But because of that, there's give that he can move all around, because all of this is a rubber type material. The entire suit is a rubber type of material. Now, are we about to make the same complaint that we did with Maximum Hulk? Could that be a problem down the line, that this rubber material fades or tears or becomes an issue? Of course. Of course. But action figures, toys, are not made for the longevity that we claim they are. Look at all the yellow stormtroopers. Look at my G.I. Joe. This guy is not exactly brand new. okay? And look at all the millions, and I'm going to say millions because I'm almost positive, of Joes where they're like, where their dinkies are broken. Because that part right there breaks. And the rubber bands go bad. And the legs fall off. They were made to be played with. In some cases, made to be displayed. And with G.I. Joes, you could argue every single one of them comes with a display stand. They were, even back when they were created in this scale, where you have this scale and you're like, oh, well, these were definitely toys. Yes, they were. But they knew even then that there were just enough adult collectors out there, not that they counted them as a huge part of the market, but enough that every single one of these guys got a display stand. That is thinking ahead in a big way that we didn't see till years down the road in other toys when they started realizing, are adults buying these things? Hand it to them. Hand it to them. Otherwise, we're looking at McFarlane level articulation. This is a suit body, but I think you got to hand it to him on this one. I think you could literally sideways kick somebody on this guy. Okay, that's good. And because there's nothing there stopping it, we got all that twist and everything and movement. He actually moves very, very well for what he is. He does have a fist for punching, and he has a gripping hand for his knife that's already on the figure. And then, of course, we can take those off and replace them with the other ones. There is a sleeve issue a little bit, but it's not too big of a deal. The sleeve comes down the littlest bit here, and maybe it would block the hand from going down this way or something like that if you use that ball joint, and it kind of blocks it from going up the littlest bit. I don't seem to have too much problems there, and going back it stops it. So there's a little bit of a sleeve issue, but like nothing that I think is going to be crazy. And the rope here is actually kind of a neat touch. It's on the figure here, so it's connected here, but then it's very loose, and it is a rope. It's glued here, and this is a rope. It's an actual rope that simulates that part of the suit. This is good for me. This is passable. We do have the pants problem, but come with all pants figures and the way the feet work and whatnot. But even like I said, there, I got him standing up. I know you can't see that, but I got him standing up. I didn't even have to try. Hold on, I'm going to hit the disc. He did not fall down. He did not fall down. He did not fall down. I just flicked him. He did not fall down. He just got to turn to the side. Look, he's fine. And he came with a stand, so if yours doesn't stand up like mine does, then yeah. It's good. This is good. I'm impressed. I like this. This does not bother me in the least. Other people may have had problems with this. And like I said, I'm not exactly like other collectors. I'm not worried about coming in here and nitpicking every detail. And even when I do, it's just kind of like almost be funny about it. Because like I said, I like this. Like, I don't have any actual problems with this. I just nitpick little things to have something to talk about and to have a little fun. That Joker is fantastic, personally. I don't think I'm going to have any problem setting him back there alongside my Batman at all. It's fantastic. I like it a lot, which now has me really looking forward to how Bane looks, because that Joker's good. Personally, I think they knocked it out of the park with him. Especially, you're talking about figures that are sitting in the $30, $40 range. I have bought $100 figures that don't have likenesses that good. I'm just saying. He's added to the shelf. Let's head back to the chat. Did you notice Kingpin is no longer mayor in the trailer, which would suggest that it's taking place after the Reborn series? My guess, anyway. We're looking at a minor time skip, I would think, possibly after the results of what we're going to see in Season 2. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. No, I agree. They took a little too big, in my opinion. Yeah, okay, yes, that's about the web shooters. They look a little too big. Yeah. It's funny, when Tony died, finally the villain is dead. Oh. The old lady is being controlled by Jean Grey. Is that the idea? Is that what we're supposed to be visualizing? Because I'm a little confused at, like, what Spider-Man is looking at, though. And if that's the truth, if the old lady's being controlled by Jean Grey, for what purpose? Like, what are we doing? Who knows? I didn't like the rumors about Rhino, calling him a C-list villain. If he's in it and he's beaten in a montage, I'm going to be annoyed. Okay. Everybody is somebody's villain. No, I'm willing to get behind this. Okay, I'm willing to get behind this. That kind of looks interesting right there. We hate to see when the villain that we like is part of the clip show and we don't actually get to see them doing anything with them. I can agree with that. One could argue that if Spider-Man comes out and we see him run through 5 or 6 of the Rogues Gallery as like a, hey, look what happened. Yeah. But I could also say that when they did the Fantastic Four movie, they showed me the Mole Man. And he's basically already been beaten. Like multiple times from kind of what we're getting out of the story. And we've already dealt with like a ridiculous amount. They were basically talking, like, they come to a point where he basically name drops villains that they've already wiped off the mat. And, like, we didn't get to see any of that because we're skipping straight to Galactus, straight to the birth of the child. Like, we're already playing with the ideas of Franklin and things like that. So, like, am I annoyed? Does it bother me? Some of that stuff would have been cool to see, but we only have the time we have when it comes to a movie, and we have to establish that these are large universes. Does it suck to skip on the Rhino like that? Kind of. He does feel like a big villain. And also, it doesn't seem like we're setting up anything with a Connors character either, because, like, we have a Professor Hulk. I know he's not Professor Hulk. I'm just making that reference. But we don't really have, like, I guess we're not seeing all of his teachers or anything like that. I don't know. Interesting. I get that. I get that irritation. But I might see why they would do it. And if they do it, if they burn right by him in a flashback, hopefully that is to set him up for a real role in a Sinister Six. Because we've got to get the 6 introduced as fast as we can if we're ever going to get to the idea of a Sinister Six movie. And in order to get to that, we kind of have to get these characters established quickly. And we probably only have like a couple of years and only like 2 Spider-Man movies to do it. And you need somebody like Doc Ock really has to have his own movie. He's too big. Is he a C-list? I wouldn't put him in the A tier. I wouldn't take Rhino and put him in the absolute. I'm definitely not putting him at the top. How far down do you think a C-list is? That's an interesting argument. Where does the Rhino go? What are the actual tiers? It's Jean Grey switching into people's heads to break her out of the prison they have her in. Is that what the rumor is, or is that what's going on? That's the website Bombus Bee Toys. Oh, I did not know. I didn't know that. Oh, I wonder if I know what Chun-Li you're talking about then. I would have to go look again, but I might know what you're talking about now that I'm thinking about that. If you think you have a lot of Marvel Legends now, Bill, get ready for more announcements in April, courtesy of Dan. Why, are they about to drop some stuff that Bill definitely wants? Are you hearing something? Not really, because I like my turtles to have a variety with each and not just look the same with each other, not just look the same. And I can get that, but like, I fight with myself about it as well because like, I do like that when the turtles were all red bandana, there's something really cool about that, but I can see where you're coming from. And I don't like the idea of buying the same turtle 4 times with no real difference except for weapons in order to distinguish who they are. But that is kind of how they were drawn back then, and especially in the black and white. Not even when they went to color, they all had the red bandanas at first. But like, if you were to take it back to even the black and white, you just had to know the turtles' personalities and know what you were looking at to know who it was that you were reading about and doing a thing. And so there is something very real to the Mirage Turtles all being basically the exact same body, exact same figure, bought 4 times, red bandanas, different belts. Like, I kind of do want them, but can see why you would prefer all of them to have a baseline personality that distinguishes them and makes them worth having 4 times. Wrong, you have 7 bookcases. 2 for books, 2 for movies, 3 for games. That's kind of fair. He's right. That's correct. He's correct. You can take my advice on TMNT, but everyone is different. To what I like, you may not articulate to me, is 3 or 4 on my list, what I expected in my figure. I just thought of a combo. NECA Stan Sakai Turtles with the Mirage Worm of Madness Shredder 2-pack. Oh, okay, man. All right. Okay. Jared Leto Joker did nothing for me. You would have an interesting story. And look, I can get that, though, because there's the different ways that people get struck by performances. Like, I'm not saying that you're wrong. From a certain point, I could understand why he doesn't work, especially if you view the Joker in a very specific way. Because the Leto Joker is not funny. At all. Like, that's not what he's going for. And some people I've had, even on the show when we're talking about the Joker, specifically say that they find the Joker funny and charismatic, and that's part of what they like, is that they know they shouldn't be having a good time when he's doing horrible things, but they are. And if you don't have that, if he's like a very serious serial killer type of guy, it feels off, like he's something he's not supposed to be. So I can get the idea that Jared Leto Joker didn't speak or do anything for you, but in the context of the world that they were building, I really enjoyed it. Same here. His Joker didn't do it, but El Diablo was really cool. I've heard a lot of people really liked the portrayal for El Diablo. I've heard that a lot, actually. Like, he seems to be a really standout in a bad movie, because, personally, it's a bad movie. Leonardo first started in Critters 3. Was that where he started? Was he in the Critters movie? Oh my God. What? I did not know this. What? I did not. That's crazy. I first seen him, of course, like many other people, I'm sure, because of Titanic. I had no idea. Critters 3, that blows my mind. I am very tempted to go find that movie now. Just to, like that, I'm very tempted to go find that movie now. That is crazy. Yeah, Jared Leto, as we need to let him know. Yeah, Jared Leto, as in we need to let him know his Joker has got to go. Dang, people, that's interesting. A lot of people did not like the Leto Joker. I get so used to hearing about how great he was, just like I never hear a bad thing ever about Mark Hamill Joker. It's always, he's the absolute best, he's the GOAT, this is the best, most amazing thing in the entire world, everybody praises him and everybody's basically slobbing him. Like, and I never hear anybody that comes out with a different opinion that's like, I actually think that this guy does a better Joker. Like, you never hear that. Like, and I get the idea some characters are absolutely iconic, but like I've even pointed some things out to some of the guys in like the old Fandom Night crew and whatnot, where like I've told them like, look, I get it, but there are things that I prefer about other Jokers over him, and I'm always going to be the minority. I'm always going to be the weird guy when it comes to that, because I like Mark a lot, and I think that you can't take away what he's accomplished with the Joker. But I also can't see him as the absolute nobody else could ever play him guy either, because I've liked other performances arguably more than his, and saw in multiple occasions that the Joker is recycled into other characters he's playing, to where if I was to put the sound bites side by side and ask you, was this said by the Joker? You might say, yeah, that's definitely the Joker's voice. And then I would say, actually, that's the Hobgoblin. Like, you know, so stuff like that. Bill likes Batman and Robin. Do I like Batman and Robin? Hold on. Give me a minute. Yes. Okay, I'm willing to say, but I watch it in the context, when I watch Batman and Robin, okay? I do enjoy it. I really do. I like it. I like it quite a bit. But I never watch that movie with the context of the movies that came before it. Ever. Like, I watch it and then go, all right, I'm going to go ahead and turn my brain off for a second. Okay, let me just turn the brain off. And let's implant the 1966 logic. And let's just have some fun. And then it doesn't bother me. But man, if I try to take that movie seriously, yeah, I could, no, I can't do it. So maybe it's just that I've learned over time that I know going into that movie that if I'm just willing to turn my brain off and watch something dumb, I can do it. And I can actually have a good time, and I can walk away from that movie feeling like I didn't waste my life. I can walk away and laugh at the dumb and enjoy it for what it was, while obviously knowing that it will never live up to any of the things that came before it and arguably after it. Like, yeah. This guy needs a flight stand. You could hold him upside down like the end of the movie. Oh! Up, there it is. Justification for my flight stand. Joker needed a flight stand. Yep. Absolutely. I agree. We agree. We're the same guy. C-list is more so for villains who look like they can pose a threat, but aren't actually a threat. Fair. If that's the way we're arguing that, that's fair. Rhino, in my opinion, is not A tier, but more like a B tier. He's significant threat, but not as bad as, say, the Green Goblin. And this I can get behind. So I would put people like Boomerang and whatnot into the C tier. And at that argument, we absolutely are not going to put somebody like Rhino. Rhino feels like he probably sits alongside characters like the Shocker. Sandman probably sits in the A tier. He's a very large level threat arguably. Venom sits in the A tier. Carnage, of course, is in the A tier. Things like that, that makes sense to me. And then B tier would be guys that if Spider-Man is not careful, he could be in real trouble. If they catch him off guard, if he's injured when he fights them, situations like that are going to be a real problem. He could get taken out. And if these kind of B tier characters are added into a group or are led by an A tier associate, that could be a real problem. Spider-Man has a real fight on his hands. But C tier guys, he could probably fight 20 of them all at once while with a broken arm. He's probably not in trouble. I could get behind that level system. I think that works for me. I think that's pretty good. That rumor is putting Rhino in the category as freaking still man. Still man. Dude. That is a deep dive. How many people even know about Stiltman anymore? Like, does anybody talk about Stiltman? Like, holy crap, that feels like a deep dive nowadays. The extra scene in Justice League movie with Jared Leto was decent. That Joker of his... Oh. Holy crap, hold on. I think for some reason, because we were talking about Heath, I think I read this wrong in my head, even though I said it out loud. I detest the Jared Leto Joker. The extra scene in Justice League movie with Jared Leto was decent. That Joker of his might have a good... So here's the biggest problem with that character. One, they were immediately making him too civilized, personally. Like, he's sitting in dance clubs, and he's, like, doing weird things, like, you know, with this thing and all the tattoos, and, like, they tried to make him edgy while also keeping him in, like, some sort of regularity. But, like, he's the kind of person that walks into the room, personally, and you are immediately uncomfortable. He's not okay. You know that. And not because he has a dumb tattoo on his forehead. Because you can tell by the way he walks, the way he presents himself, the sound of his voice. This guy is not okay. We're in trouble. That's the way I feel about him. And when you take Jared Leto and you cut out everything that he could possibly do. Because, like, there's little things that make it feel like, all right, maybe we're going in the right direction here a little bit. But then the storyline that you present alongside that Jared Leto figure is just kind of trash and feels like he doesn't necessarily belong. But, like, he has, like, an entire crew and, like, just weird things. Like, even the people that work for Joker are uncomfortable with doing so. Like, they know that they're one step away from also being right there at one of their... They could easily become one of his victims. And most of the time, when we hear from one of them from their point of views or whatever, like if we get a little bit of a side story or whatever from them, either they were forced to, they have no real choice but to play the game, or the Joker pays really well. And maybe if you could survive this one gig, you could be set up for quite a while and not have to worry about it later. Like, that's what it seems to me is going on with a Joker character, but that doesn't seem like that's what they were setting up with Jared. Like, the Leto Joker really bugs me. I don't know. I think it's a mix of many different things. I think, first off, you have to change the makeup design. Like, he looks dumb to me. Regardless of how hard he would kill me, if I saw him, I am not afraid of him. At all. Like, at all. And I can't believe that somebody looking like him, having the attitude that he has, existing in the world that he exists in, running in the clubs that he was running in, How has nobody just shot him yet? It's just a guy. Like, he's not a guy that walks in and catches you off guard, or that we didn't see him coming. He's just sitting at the club. You're telling me that nobody, especially the characters like the crime lords and whatnot that want the suits gone, they don't want the costumes in their town. Look at the Valentine's Day killer. The Valentine's Day murderer, that killer, if you look at that storyline alone, you could see that the syndicate crime families and whatnot did not want these costume guys running around. And here the Joker is just hanging out in clubs and offering his girlfriend his tail to other people, and then like doing dumb little smile things, and like laying in piles of knives at fancy hotels, and like nobody's just shot him yet? You're telling me that nobody is just like, he hangs out at the club at blah blah blah. If you ever hear some of the stories from people like Sammy the Bull, and you're telling me that a guy like that existed in those in that world with these people in plain sight all the time, easily accessible by every other individual at any time, regardless of the crew he has, he's dead. He's dead. He ain't making it a week. He ain't making it a week. I don't care what kind of scary he is. He's dead. Absolutely. There's no way. There's just something about it that doesn't work for me, because they're trying to mix kind of a real world scenario. They're not playing comic books. I mean, they are, but they're trying to play it at a like a multi-serious cue. And he feels like a guy that by now crime families would have just offed him. That had just been like, this guy has to go. He hangs out at this club. Bye. Like, there's just no way. There's just no way. And we don't get a confrontation with him to see how he locks up against the Batman. And I think that's the most damning part of the entire character. Of everything that I could have possibly said, here's what kills the character. If we could have seen him lock against the Batman, to see the Batman that we currently had in that run, in that series of movies, that Batman needed a standalone, real scene with that Joker, so that we could have seen how they interact, how they fight, their history, and their back and forth. The only thing we got was a reach-around joke after basically the Cataclysm. And that is not enough. And it's also not the Batman that we really know talking to the Joker that we really know. It's an entire length of things that we've already missed, that we'll never see, that we'll only have speculation as, that has already irreparably changed both characters forever. So it's still not what we needed. So it just feels like he bothers me in so many ways, because knowing what I know about that world and comics and the crime families of the Gotham universe, you're telling me the Gotham universe, the crime families made attempts on the Penguin and nobody killed the Joker when he's just hanging out in strip clubs? He's dead. He's dead. It's so goofy. You know, he has a secret shelf with the Nip Suit figures. I did not buy the Nip Suit figures. I did not. But I will say this about those figures. Though I passed on them, I was impressed by them. That's not a joke. When I seen them, I said, oh, wow. Like, they really went for it. These look great. And then I left. Like, I gotta hand it to him. Even if I don't like a thing, I can appreciate the work that went into it. And those figures looked fantastic. Not fantastic enough for me to buy. Cameron Monaghan, I don't think I could say that last name, is a better Joker than Jared, and that's not even a legit true Joker. I have to look him up. The director took a look at Machine Kelly and said, "Yep, I want that. I want that kind of Joker. Tattoos, all of it. Let's do it." Machine Gun Kelly. Okay. I don't know. He's always been weird to me. That Joker has never made sense to me. That's another with this guy. He was unexpected. Nobody knew how to deal with him. He walked in the room. He wasn't a guy that you saw hanging out at clubs and stuff like that. He walked into a room of gangsters that were currently talking about a situation right after he robbed them, in which he came out of nowhere. Nobody knew he even existed. Then he does all that stuff. Then he comes in and threatens all of them. Then, after he does this, he walks out the door because they're going to kill him right there. Yeah, I get that the first one is no, I want to hear him. Let him talk. Tell us some stuff. And he tells them some stuff. And he tells them some stuff they're not going to like to hear. What, your balls drop off? Little things like that. Real stuff that's going to get you killed in a room like that. And one of them reacts. And you'll notice that the other guys in the room did not stand up oh no, don't kill that guy. Blah, no. Nobody protested the idea. The second he stood up, the Joker backs off and, let's not blow this out of proportion. That whole thing. And then he disappears. He even has a price on his head. Immediately, crime families, the crime lords of Gotham City are all done with him already. He has stolen from them. He has threatened them. They already have prices on his head. The most prominent, Michael Jai White's character. Then he shows up out of nowhere, dead, and he kills Michael. At that point, he is a danger to every single one of the crime families. But you know what he does? He vanishes. They can't find him. You're not going to tell me that he made that kill and then they didn't immediately start looking for him. But nobody can find him. Batman, the police, the crime syndicates, they're all looking for him. He's gone. And then when stuff finally goes down and they no longer have a choice, that's when they say, "All right, Heath, you made a statement that you could get rid of this guy. You could kill him. We don't like you. We don't like what's been going on. We're not a fan of this at all. But let's say you can do it. What was that you wanted? Half? Okay. All right, I'm interested now." And that does not go well for them. That does not go well for them. He is how I see the Joker actually operating in a real world scenario. This guy is not hanging out at the local strip club or at the bar and everybody knows who he is and he's just like a local thing and driving around in the loudest, most obnoxious car you can possibly take on the road. He's dead. The Jared guy cannot possibly survive in the universe they were creating. The crime families would have killed him. That's the thing that has always bothered me about that Joker. It just blows my mind. It does. It's the universe. Maybe had they designed the universe differently, he probably could have worked. But I don't get it. They said, well, Jared Leto has all the tattoos. Let's not put the purple suit on him because it's too... Because that's too... Yeah, that's when we're getting out of hand. They put tattoos on the Crow. Did you pre-order Lobo? I think you spoke... Yes! Yes, sir. Lobo, the main man. Yes, sir, I did. I got I got Lobo, the Joker, and I pulled the trigger. I got Black Canary. I like the Black Canary. I don't like Green Arrow. I've never been a fan of the Green Arrow. I don't care. I've tried to read some of his stuff. I've seen him in shows. I didn't even like him when they did the series The Arrow, because that's also not the Green Arrow that I read in the books or seen in the shows. That's not him. Basically, they couldn't do Batman, so they did Green Arrow, and he's Batman. Like, that's really what they did. They couldn't do Batman. They weren't allowed, so they said, who's basically the closest thing to Batman? Oh, well, there's this millionaire over here that has almost the same kind of backstory. You know, we can play around with that. We can mess with it for a while, and then I think we can make it work. And they're like, great, let's do that. And then they brought all the Batman villains into his show and whatnot to really play out the idea that that's exactly who he was. Like that, even that guy, I don't like that guy because he's not even the Green Arrow. He's just Batman. Arrow is not the Green Arrow. Like that whole series, I was like, oh, look, it's Batman. So like I look at that, and it makes me not want any of his figures or any of his stuff because I've never mixed well with him. I've never felt like he spoke to me at all. But I loved the idea of Black Canary and the level of respect that she receives from being on teams like the Justice League. And here's what I liked about her the most that really caught my attention back when I was younger. I liked that she would be brought into books like the Justice Society, and then they would have her teach hand-to-hand combat to people with superpowers, like guys that were like completely broken. And aside from her canary cry, she doesn't have any powers. She has this and skills, and that is it. And she would lay waste to these kids that had like superpowers, like kids that like thought they were really something. They're in the Justice Society, they're being trained by legends, they've got superpowers, and then she would be brought in. They also played the same thing on like the Teen Titans Young Justice kind of show too, where she would come in and she would fight people, and like basically the Superboy would be like, are you kidding me? Like, I got powers and yada yada, and then she would use his momentum against him and show him like martial arts tricks that didn't matter what his strength was. If it wasn't directed right, it was not his strength, it was somebody else's. I loved that. I love that she's one of the most capable hand-to-hand experts on the planet, to the point where she can train super-powered people, and they have to respect her. That is amazing to me. And then later she was on like things like the Sirens and whatnot, so I seen her in things like that. I like her. I wouldn't say she's like my favorite thing in the world. I couldn't even put her in like, I don't even know if I would put her, maybe if we were making the same argument about A, B, C tier, she probably sits in my C tier of things that make the shelf. She barely makes it. I like some things about her, but that's it. However, the figure looks great. I like the idea that, like, I'm interested to see how the jacket works, because I think this same jacket was used for the Power Girl character, and I kind of liked that. I didn't buy that one, but I kind of liked it. And I also, the fishnets thing, I have to see how they work. Because if they work, and they work well, I might have a custom idea for my Zatanna. If it works well, and I see how they did it, I might be able to convince myself to buy another and swap the legs onto the Zatanna and make her have the action. Because I talked about that when I opened Zatanna. I kind of wish she would have had the actual fishnets. And then here come along the next character with fishnets, and they actually gave it to her. Now, it could be that the fishnets are also a bad idea too, because it might not work with the figure. It might hinder, or they might pop easy if we're like moving the legs around and stuff like that. So I have to see how they work. Maybe they look awkward. Maybe I'll actually regret the fact that they're on there at all. And I saw that I think that there's a variant of her where it's just like, it's not the fishnets, but it's just like the leggings maybe that would have been the better choice. But I bought the one with the fishnets, and we're going to see how they work. So that was everybody I bought from that wave. Seriously, Bill, when you get some time, watch the interrogation scene from Gotham with Cameron. He nails it. Oh, I do know who you're talking about. Yes, that guy right there from Gotham, he might be the best interpretation of the Joker in live action that we have ever seen, but he was not the Joker. No, absolutely. Yeah, I liked that. I actually really liked Gotham. I liked the idea that they showed you how Gotham as a character works. Kind of like the same idea how they put relevancy back into Motu by removing He-Man and showing you that all the Motu characters actually had relevancy by themselves. They didn't need He-Man to be relevant, but He-Man was a part of the universe, and then they brought He-Man back in and kind of dropped him in there, and now we've got the whole, like, everybody seems more important by comparison now. I liked Gotham for the idea that they took Gotham and they said, what if no Batman? No Batman, but everything else, yes. And so then you got to see things like how Gotham City worked, how the crime syndicate families worked, how they would have dealt with the situation if Batman wouldn't have been around, the competency of the police officers. Because, like, if the police officers are completely useless, then Batman doesn't seem that great by comparison. He seems like he's the only competent person in Gotham, and the police are leaning on him because they're all idiots. But when you do the Gotham series and you show that the cops are actually out there trying, but they're dealing with superhuman ridiculousness, and they still find ways to kind of apprehend and solve these things, that makes it so much better. Because then when you put Batman back into that situation, we know the competency and the character of Gotham as a city and large, and then we drop Batman back into it, and I think it works twice as well. If we'd have got a series kind of lading off of that where Batman was a thing, it would have been very interesting. Yeah, I absolutely loved him. I think he's one of the best, if not the absolute best live-action Joker we've ever seen, but they weren't allowed to call him that. Yeah, he nails it. Absolutely. So good. I know in Justice League Unlimited and Batman Brave and the Bold, Wildcat trained Black Canary in some cases because her mother was the first Black Canary. Yes, she was actually trained by all of a sudden I can't even say it. Yes, in Justice League Unlimited, Batman Brave and the Bold, Wildcat, yes. Wildcat did train her. He is the one that set her up to start her on that path. And let me tell you something. When Wildcat is still, even Justice Society, even at the age he's in, he is rated as one of the greatest, if not the greatest hand-to-hand combatant. Them hands will put you down. When Batman is telling you that's a guy you don't want to fight. That's a guy you don't want to fight. When he trains you, you're something. Yes, that is as far as I am aware, Batman was trained by Wildcat, and she also received direct instruction by Wildcat. Not like you're in his class, but let me show you how to do this. Wildcat is no joke. He puts down, he is a man. Let's just get this out of the way. Wildcat is a dude. A dude. That is it. Regular dude who beats up supervillains. Not regular villains. Villains with superpowers. And he uses them hands. That's a scary man. That's a scary man. He basically ran out of competitors in the real world and went punching bad guys. I mean, read his background. Basically, he went after one bad guy, mollywopped that bad guy, and then said, "Hey, you know, I could do this," and then just did it. and then was so good at it that he was put on the same team alongside people like the original Flash. When a man that can run faster than human perception can detect is like, I wouldn't fight that guy. That's a scary man. That's a scary man. Thoughts on Sadie Sink playing Jean Grey in Spider-Man in MCU? I don't know yet. I'm not fully processed, like, because I can't reference 100% of what she's done because I haven't seen certain things. Like, I know this shocks a lot of people. I have actually never seen anything from Game of Thrones. Ever. I haven't even seen a single episode. So, like, I have this huge gap in different things, and like I can't name drop her in terms of what she's played in, so I don't have any information on her acting style, so I'm having real trouble with like placing her as Jean Grey and whether or not she can knock that out of the park. However, that also helps me a little bit because I'm not putting any preconceived notions in the idea of her playing that. So, like, I feel like she'll do fine. And this information right here helps me a little bit because now if I'm picturing who she is, why not? Like, that could work. That could work very, like, if I'm thinking it's who I think it is, then yes. Now, I haven't seen a lot of that, believe it or not. I was watching some of it with my wife. I watched like all of season 4 and most of season 5 and some of season 2. I'm all over the place with that. I did not see it from the beginning. I was working a lot of overtime, like when it was out, and they started it around season 3, so it was already out for a little while when they started watching it, and I was like coming home, and then like my mom and my wife were watching it, and like I was picking up an episode here and there, and then I never went back to like catch myself up, and then the other stuff came out, so I just like, okay, I guess I'll just watch it. So yeah, like it kind of messed with me on that one. So I only have like scattered information on that show. I don't know how I feel about Grey Hulk, but at least we get Savage Hulk back. Max, the redhead, to play the redhead. What? Look, I'm going to say something, though. That is becoming somewhat of a rarity. Like, it is, if we're being perfectly honest. For some reason, redheads are not getting casted as redheads. It seems much easier to just like take a blonde and like dye her hair red. That seems to be the natural go-to anymore. Or like, so like, I don't know. Like it is kind of a funny irony that we don't do that. But whatever. I know we only opened 2, but hey, you know how the show works. It's not always a guarantee as to how many we open. It's all about the conversations. If the conversations hit and we have something to talk about, that's what we're doing. And then, of course, in between the chapters, I will be opening more things. So maybe expect that if I have the time Tuesday, it would be Tuesday. It wouldn't be Monday. Monday, I'm getting things finalized to finally become a 2-car family again. We'll figure it out. I don't know. We'll see if it happens. But if it happens the way I want it to, we will be back to being 2 cars, and that's going to open up a lot of film time and a lot of different possibilities for like choosing the exact days that I want to do this and everything. It won't like lock me into a Sunday, and we'll figure out what day works the best. We'll discuss it and whatnot. Maybe I'll put some sort of a questionnaire out or something like that. But we'll figure it out what we're going to do and how often we're going to do it. But Tuesday, I might open that Bane. And if I do open the Bane on Tuesday, his episode will come out on Tuesday. So I've been kind of slipping in individual openings and individual news tracks and talks and whatnot in between all the chapters, and we'll see how that goes. Hopefully that continues. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me. As usual, come back, and we will keep opening figures because that's what we do here. Anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. I really do. I'm gonna see you next time. Later on.